let's draw the tile that she did, or the flower that she did. So I think doing it like at an angle will be easiest so that we can draw the bigger leaves.
Okay.
Make sure this is actually like, is it focused?
Yeah. There we go.
Getting there. I don't know, my glasses on so I can see. Okay. So this one, we're going to start with the 2 petals, and we're going to fill the whole bijou, and the flower part fits between the petals, just so you are get an idea of the space, how that's going to work. I'm going to go up and around and then kind of curve like that. Same thing on the other side. I'm going to go up and around, and then the bottom, I'm going to kind of do this curvy thing. Wow, that just looks totally different, but that's okay. I meant to curve down this way, but instead I went paisley. I'm going to be all right with that. So you can draw it however you want. And then our next step is that big arc. And so it's going to feel bigger on this one. I'm going to go almost to the end of my petals here and draw this. Oopsie, I'm gonna switch. Maybe I should have been using a different pen this whole time. Yeah. So much better. I'm gonna aura the inside of that. So this is where I'm going to do the petals next, and then we're going to start breaking things down. But the petals they kind of remind me of teeth.
Yeah, a little bit.
But it's just, that's how it helped me wrap my brain around what I'm doing. I'm trying. Right. And then mine's going to kind of go off my tile a bit. Actually, I'll keep it in. We'll see how this goes. It's going to look a little bit like a misfit petal, but I'm okay with that. And then I'm going to aura, but we're going to put these eyelets. I'm going to show you. We're going to put these eyelets in there too, right? But I'm going to aura first so that I don't feel like I'm smushing, but I don't want my aura to be too big because I have to make space for these eyelets. Then I'm going to draw these seed shapes. My little tiny petal over here. These seed shapes always make me think of bales, the Tangle bales. So then I'm going to do the little crescent moon shapes across here. I think for me, I want to do it in the middle first. Because you draw the arc and then color it in. And just gonna make that a big one because I feel like I want it to be 3, not halvesy. And then we have this nice big space here, and I like to have one line come out from the middle. And then I like to kind of curve the other 2. And this is where you could use a thinner pen if you want to, but today on this bijou, I'm just gonna, at least until we get to the checker up here, the grid up there, I'm gonna keep using the same pen because this is where we do the bigger grid and then the dots. Just 1 dot, not 4 dots. where they intersect. Now I'm gonna aura these big leaves and then I'm gonna switch to my smaller pen. Feels very wet. It feels like there's a lot of ink on my page right now. I'm going to turn it upside down and I'm going to, in this aura, instead of covering or coloring this aura in, we're going to do the lines in this one instead this time. So I'm just going to start at one side and just put like this. And then in our big leaves, we have a medium mesh. I'm going to call it a mesh grid. And then in the petals, she actually did the tiny grids. So I'm going to actually draw the medium grid in my bigger leaves first, because then we'll put the scroll in there after we get done doing the little petals. And so then I'm drawing behind those eyelets that we drew. I'm leaving those open. Those we don't color in at all. So you can see like the different elements of drawing the lace, like you can play with where you put them and how you fit them in, whether it be the eyelets or like these little dollops, the crescent moon dollops, or like whether you color in the aura or whether you make the lines in the space, which size grid you use, which French knots you use. Okay, so for me, I've got all of that filled in. So I'm going to switch back to my thicker white Signo pen. And this is where we get to play with the scrolls in the leaves. I feel like I'm going to want this to, I want my curve with the flux end to go into this hook that I have. If you don't have that, it's okay, but just decide which way you want your flux to go. And then because I went towards the bottom of my tile on this side. I'm gonna go toward the bottom of my tile on the other side. I don't know that that really matters, but it feels like I like that look. Now I gotta let things dry a bit. Like when I'm working on a bijou, as I'm looking at this too, I think, well, you could make it look like this is part of an entire bigger piece of lace by adding more lines, almost like you could do like these lines like this, like off the page connecting as if it was like a part of a bigger piece. I don't know that I'm going to do that today, but you could. I'm going to get this off of here now because for my white, I want to have so this is where we would color in the leaves on the outer edge here, and then the outer edge of this scallop here. And then when you get done with that, then you can go back and add love if you feel like it needs it anywhere. Well, this pencil is nicer than that other one I was using. It's funny how the two, like, you know, when I took my training, I remember Rick and Maria being like, they talked a long time about the supplies and how it really matters if it feels good and how, you know, how you're working with it. And it's true. Like, it's a much more enjoyable, it's such a, like, I'll tangle with a ballpoint pen and a scrap paper and be perfectly content doing it. But then I start working with like tools where it's like, oh, this is amazing.
Like this feels
And
really
this
good.
feels so good. But even this, like this, I don't know if you can see it really well, but like this white is a lot. I mean, now I'm like, well, maybe I don't want it quite that bright, you know? So get my Tortillion out and kind of do some smudging. I don't know, I'm going to do the whole thing in this darker white, but darker white, is that a thing?
More opaque white?
More opaque white.
Question mark?
Yeah. Lacy, lacy. So the way this petal landed over here, just because of the way the shape of the end of the petal is, I kind of want to, I'm going to outline that. Maybe. I'll do a little fescue thing at the end. If you do have trouble with your pen flowing, I do find the brush strokes to work really well. Like that, it's hard. The ink tends to flow well when you. I gotta let it dry, and then I'm to the point where I can where I can put my chop on it. I don't know where I want to tuck it in. I guess I'm gonna tuck it in over here. let that dry, and then we can sign it on the back again. All right, turn it over. I'm gonna date and sign. And I'm just gonna do zentangle-related.com again. Oops, I'm off the camera. I guess it doesn't really matter. You don't have to see me sign the tile, but zentangle-related.com is important. That piece is important. I think giving people credit where credit is due is an important piece of all things.